Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another rip-roaring episode of Geek Syndicate. This is episode 308. This time I've got it right because the last episode I completely screwed up the numbering system, which is why I cut that bit out. So I don't know why I'm even telling you that now. I am back in the host driving seat because Dave is still... I don't even know where Dave is at the moment, to be honest. As his best mate, I suppose I should know that, but I don't. Oh, well, who cares? But I'm not alone. This week I'm joined by another guest host, and this is the guest of guest hosts. This is Dan Marshall. Hi, Dan.
Yo, what's up? That's quite an accolade. Guest of guests. Yeah.
Guests. Well, I could have said King of Kings, but that's Jesus Christ, so that might be a step too far.
I know him, though.
Dan, there ain't anyone you don't know.
We got way back at my boy Jesus. Yeah.
So,
Dave? Sorry to jump in here. We're just gonna start. Isn't Dave in like Brittany or something? I just completely made that up.
I'm just gonna go yes.
I thought that's where he was. I don't know why, but sometimes I read text messages and then go on the internet and I confuse the two. So I'm going with that. If you're wondering and you're worried about him, I'm pretty sure he's in Brittany and he's safe.
Okay, good to know. The last communique I had from Dave was an image he'd posted in the WhatsApp group of him dressed as a king, which seems pretty typical of Dave.
Better that though than him sending you a thing saying like, "I'm going hungry, please send money." Yeah,
that's true. That's true because that would go badly for him if he sent that just to me.
You just put some coins in an envelope and send them off to Brittany.
Randomly.
Yeah.
So, Dan, you are no stranger to podcasting.
I am not. I'm an old pro.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did the Sidekickcast for about 7 or so years, I think. I guest spotted on here years ago.
Yes, you did.
We talked about Airwolf.
Yeah.
Good times.
Happy days.
Which you probably won't do now because that's a podcast unto itself. Maybe we should talk about that later.
Yeah. Especially now, he's died now, hasn't he?
I know. I saw that. But he was in a bad way, wasn't he?
Yeah, because this is Jan Michael Vincent, who plays Stringfellow Hawk, was still one of the best ever names.
Ever.
Yeah, and they put up a picture of him, and I was like, that looks nothing like him. And then I think he'd been in a car crash or something. Yeah.
Did you ever see Buffalo 66 with Vincent Gallo?
No.
Because I think I want to say that's if not late, I think it's I'm completely making that up. But anyway, it's maybe early 2000s. And he rocks up in that. It's only a tiny part, and he's really struggling to speak. He runs like a bowling alley.
Right.
I remember thinking them, it's not... It's always sad when you see stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? When the ears aren't kind.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
Well, it's a nice way to start a rip-roaring podcast.
Thanks for inviting me on to episode 308. I'm out. Grim Reaper.
I'm out and I'm taking your podcast with me in flames.
Yeah.
So, yes. Of Sidekickcast and Cape Killer.
That's right, man. CapeKillerClothing.com. Check it out. Subtly reference comic book stuff. You can get, the Common Garden license stuff in Asda. Even your mum's got a Hulk t-shirt now.
Yeah,
but no one's got this shiz. Actually, let's some grammar. Are we allowed to swear on Geek Syndicate? Is it PG?
We are. No, it's not PG. Well, no, it kind of varies. Some weeks it goes as a PG. Some weeks it goes as, kids don't be listening to this.
Okay.
It's kind of freeform, depends on what we're talking about.
All right, I'll try and rein it in, but as long as I know have you got a safe word or anything? Shut up.
Yeah.
Say okay.
Leave it, you talk.
Okay, cool.
Let's kick off with some shout outs. As you are the guest of the week, do you have any shout outs?
I want to shout out Geek Syndicate.
Okay.
That's what's up. My boys. I think that's it.
Okay.
I'm completely unprepared.
Okay, that was easy.
Good. Okay.
I think I'll take over the heavy lifting on shout-outs then, shall I?
Yeah, why not?
'Cause I feel like the concept of shout-outs is a bit lost on you.
Yeah, I'm used to doing it. If I'd known I'd have like written a load down. Now I actually know that like a couple of our mates will listen to this and be like, why the fuck did he not? Like, he knows us and now he's just dogging us.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard week for you.
Yeah, man. My Twitter's going to be blowing up.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a shout out to Ken Reynolds. Ken Reynolds is a comic creator, and he's currently running a Kickstarter, and it's for a comic called Cognition. It's Cognition Volume 1, and the kind of blurb for it is basically it's a 196 page comic trade paperback which collects issues 0 to 4. It's a story about a robot with a human soul and demonically possessed mouse. So these two sort of creatures, they work for the British occult secret service. I'll give you a second to work out what the initials of that would spell. So I'll say that again. British occult secret. Yeah.
Maths is not my strong suit, but I'm all right with letters.
Yeah. Boss. Under the eye of spy master magician Silas Pope at the height of the golden age of the Victorian era.
See, you throw in, like I was in anyway, but you throw in a name like that, and I'm like, yeah. Silas Pope, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've already read most of this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I read some of it, because Ken has sent us the issues before for this. And obviously this is the collected works. And I really like it. I really like it. One of the things I quite like, it's black and white, and it's quite heavy sort of inks, but I think that kind of it kind of adds to it.
Yeah, yeah.
It gives it that kind of almost sort of bleak Victorian melodrama kind of vibe to it.
Really?
And it's got a kind of. Do you read much, or have you read much Hellboy and like BPRD stuff?
Not as much as I should.
But
I know the style.
Okay, yeah. It's got that kind of vibe to it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's well worth checking out. So I wanted to give him a shout out because he's got his Kickstarter going. At the moment, his Kickstarter's doing really well. His goal's $3,000, and he's currently at 2,205 quid.
Oof! And it's what, 2 weeks left? You say?
Yeah, it's got a little over. He's got 19 days.
19 days,
left.
So 3 weeks.
So, just under 3 weeks. So yeah. So yeah, I will stick a link in the show notes, people. So go and check out Cognition of Volume 1. He's got loads of rewards in there. Have a read. See if you. The other good thing as well is he's got issue 0 on there for free. So don't take my word for it. Go and check out issue 0. See what you think. If you like it, put some cash in the guy's pocket so he can bring out the volume. Boom.
I like that when you know what you're making. You're giving a little bit for free. Then when you're confident about it, you're like, "Here's a taster. It's like crack. Have this," and then you have to buy the other ones.
I mean, also as well, the good thing about those sort of Kickstarters is there's an end product.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
because he's already got them. The issues are already done. I think on your site, I think he'd put up a proof copy or something that he's now got. So he's got them physically now, and that's always the worry sometimes with Kickstarters. I mean, it doesn't seem to happen as much these days, but that is the worry, that it's a Kickstarter where you give us money, we will then do comic. And sort of 3 years down the line, people are still waiting for the comics to materialise.
Yeah. All I'm doing now is thinking of all the people I know that have got Kickstarters, and I completely forgot to give them shout-outs.
Rookie.
What's your next shout-out?
So that's it. That's my shout-out.
Wow.
I don't need to go any further than that. One shout-out is all that's needed.
One good quality shout out.
Yeah, unless I'm going to shout out Dave in Brittany, but I don't know if he's actually in Brittany. So
I'm 90% sure he's in Brittany. He's probably in Walthamstow or something.
Yeah. Wouldn't put it past Dave. Just taking random photos of himself in Walthamstow and sending it to telling him he's in Brittany. That actually sounds pretty spot on for Dave. Hey everyone, I'm partying in the south of France. You're in Walthamstow, dude. I can see the Tesco's behind you.
I know that park.
Right, enough about Dave's adventures. Let's move on to week that was.
Mm.
Okay, it's a bit ominous.
That was my powerful, like, I'm getting psyched up, like, did that
Okay.
not? I promise you that's what was happening.
Okay, because it was just frankly a little bit disturbing.
My girlfriend says that.
Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. So, so week that was, what you've been watching, what you've been reading, what you've been doing.
Man, I've been like mostly mucking about and reading comic books. But like years ago, I used to feel like I have to read everything and keep up with stuff. I don't really do that anymore. I just kind of pick and choose depending on. Sometimes like it'll depend on if there's a sale on Comixology and stuff. But I was really interested in the new Justice League stuff because like Marvel, I'm a bit of a Marvel fanboy, but I just find it sort of a bit tired now. Everything I kind of pick up, I feel like I've read before.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot about DC, so I ended up picking up completely at random in a sale Metal by Snyder. Did you read it?
No.
Right. So I think the seeds of it started in 2017, but the crossover was in 2018, and it is completely bonkers. So it's like Batman discovers like a dark multiverse that exists underneath the core like DC multiverse, and there's this like dark metal that connects them all. It's as bonkers as it sounds. And then he connects in there like the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor from the other Crisis stuff, and then adds in like their brother called like the World Forger, and then he's got like this dragon that they use when certain universes don't work out the way that they should, so this dragon comes in and like eats them. It's absolutely bonkers. And the first time I read it, right, I was like, that's total hog shit. It sounds like it's like a fevered dream with Batman in it. I was like, absolutely not. And he does tie in, there's some strands there he ties in with like when he was doing the new 52 Batman.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. And then I read it a second time and I was like, it's beautifully bonkers. It's like this kind of crazy ballet. Because when you go back and read like Crisis on Infinite Earths and that stuff, they're all batshit crazy as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
But then the new Justice League, like the whole series come out at like 69p a comic, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to smash all these things. There's about 20 on there.
Yeah.
But between these two, right, there was a book they brought out. It was called No Justice. It was a 4-story arc, right? And there's like in this, it gets even crazier because basically there's these 4 like giant beings comprised of the universe's like major energies, which is like mystery, wonder, wisdom, and entropy. And these things are like in trees that they have to Brainiac comes, recruits everyone, and goes, these are the teams you're going to split up into, and you've got to go and like basically go to a tree each. Dude, I'm not making this up. This happened. This was in a comic book.
Right.
For reals. But I couldn't tell you what actually happens in the book, but the great thing about it is the teams that they throw together. So the first team was Team Mystery, right? And you got Superman, Martian Manhunter, Starfire, Starro. Let me just say that again. Starro. The
right.
world-conquering psychic starfish. Sinestro. And then it's like Team Entropy, which is like Batman, Lobo, Deathstroke, Lex Luthor, and Beast Boy. Team Wonder, which is Wonder Woman, Dr. Fate, Zatanna, Etrigan. I didn't know who that was. Are you steeped in like DC?
To be honest, a lot of my DC knowledge comes from the cartoons because that's Etrigan.
Yeah.
That Etrigan the demon.
Yeah, that yellow one.
Yeah.
And then there's Team Wisdom, which is Cyborg, Robin, Atom, The Flash, and Harley Quinn. Now,
how does Harley Quinn end up on Team Wisdom?
Brainiac recruits her.
Okay.
I know, right?
Okay.
Mate, but this is the thing. You go from like, so I've read it in this order with nothing in between, no frame of reference. So I read Metal, couldn't understand it, but a second time I was like, I still didn't understand it, but I thought the action was really good. Then I read No Justice, and I was like, I kind of love that you don't care what the reader thinks, or whether or not they can follow the story. And then straight after that, then is like this Justice League run that I've been reading. Now, it's kind of got it's still kind of bonkers, and it ties in like all the stuff that happens in Metal and No Justice, where basically they break the multiverse, and this thing called the Source Wall, which holds back all the energies that created the multiverse, is broken. So this thing called the Totality comes out of it. And Lex Luthor at this point now has turned back into a bad guy. And he's got like a magic doorknob. This is a true thing. this is in the comic book. It's got a magic doorknob, right, which he has to like.
Seriously, have you been drinking
dude,
or something?
I've also been drinking. So along with the swearing, are we allowed to drink? I feel like I'm about to derail. You're in episode 308, and no one's going to listen anymore. But this is true. And I'm trying to follow this, and I was like, there's something about it. There's enough kind of old school Justice League stuff in it that kind of makes you go on, I'll give you one more go. I'll give you one more go. I did it when I was a teenager. And I was reading the X-Men. You're like, I'm in so deep now, and I got an affinity with the characters that I got to keep going. But like, it's bonkers. There's like cosmic coral, as in like a coral reef in it. They blew up the moon, and no one seems to care about it for like 2 issues. Martian Manhunter's like, I know I turned into a dragon and broke the moon. We should probably fix that. It's like, you're reading it and you're like, guys, just tell a coherent story just for 5 minutes. So it's kind of, I'm in now, but I'm not going to lie. I'm like 22-ish. I'm not completely up to date, but I have to kind of see where it goes because I'm like, I've gone this far.
Wow.
I know. It's like a bad trip.
I got nothing. I genuinely,
You don't know what to say.
I genuinely don't know what to say. I got nothing on that. Honestly.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. And you know the doorknob thing? I'm not joking. What is really good about it, though, that I like, is like every 4 to 5 issues. So it's written by Snyder. It's got Jin Chung on art and switches up with Jorge Jimenez, who is just... It could not have any words in it. His art is so beautiful.
Yeah.
But Tinian the Fourth, I think a little bit of script duty Snyder as well. Basically, every 4 to 5 issues, it's just a Legion of Doom issue.
Okay.
So what's really good is basically you kind of get like the anti-Justice League for like an issue every now and again. Now, obviously, it all links in, but you kind of see them and their politics and them kind of, they're not really, until recently, like plotting against each other. They're fairly cohesive. But like, it's really interesting. Like, I've not seen that before. So there's still like the numbered issues, but then they'll be like written over the top on the cover of the Justice League. You'll say Legion of Doom. And those issues, to be honest, are kind of the ones that I've got a little bit more excited about.
Oh, okay.
Because they're a bit fresh.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm hanging on in there. Do you know, like when you're on a bike when you're a kid, it's going down the hill way too fast, and you're like, I should probably jump off because this is not going to end well. That's basically the Justice League.
Wow. I suppose the fact that it's 69p an issue probably helps.
Yeah, and I'm only going to buy them in the sale. Because
I mean, I think that's kind of covered off the comics. I mean, I want to talk some of the TV I've been watching, but there's a question I kind of wanted to ask you actually, because I probably over the weekend I think I bought a load of stuff because I bought a load of I'm fully onto Dark Horse, so I finished all the BPRD stuff and I'm trying to like find new things in the sort of Dark Horse universe around that kind of vibe to pick up. So I picked up a few things in there, and I picked up, and I haven't started it yet, I've picked up, is it Mr. Miracle?
Oh my god, dude.
So I picked that up, but the reason I picked that up, because even though everyone was kind of recommending it and stuff, I don't really know anything about the character. Okay, I do like, it's written by Tom King, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I did read the Vision, and I loved his Vision story. I would never have read that had a load of people hadn't recommended it to me. But Definitely. Also, I probably wouldn't have read that for the same reason, Mr. Miracle, if it hadn't been on sale on Comixology. I think I got Mr. Miracle for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 quid.
You dirty boy.
Whereas normally it's like $11.99.
Yeah. Well, I subscribed to it. I only do that rarely, but like I think someone had put me onto it. No, do you know what it was? There was an issue 0, which is basically half of the first issue. Yeah. And it was free, and I was hooked. I was going to subscribe to that, and I was getting them monthly.
My fear for like comics in general, like the comic industry, as it were, certainly with digital, and I say it to someone who publishes comics as well, is I now find that because Comixology is pretty much the only game in town in terms of like a place to get digital comics from. I know there's other places you can get, like Comic House, which does a lot of indie comics as well. But for like mainstream stuff, you're really looking at Comixology, aren't you? And especially with the link in with Amazon.
Oh God, yeah.
So the problem I find now is certain things I'm not even looking at it because I'm like, that's going to be on a sale at some stage.
Defo.
So why am I going to spend, even let's say it's a tenner, do you know what I mean? Even if it's like a tenner, I'm like, why am I going to spend a tenner when I know I can wait, in some cases, a week, 2 weeks, and that's probably going to be half price, or on a buy one, get one free.
Yeah, or even better, like a lot of trades now in those sales are like $3. But you bang on though, like the point you make it earlier is some of the stuff you kind of discover that you otherwise wouldn't have touched. And I think that is the really good thing about Comicsology and some of the sales that they have.
But I think the downside is, which is more for your indie creator, is that to a certain extent, the bigger companies, like your DC and Marvel, I'm guessing, I could be wrong, can take that hit.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure how it works when it comes to like the back end stuff. Because I don't know if, I'm not sure, because they seem to chop and change. Like Marvel will have Marvel Mondays, but there'll be like a limited amount. And then when SDCC was on, everyone had a sale.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how it works in terms of like the back end and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, you're probably right. I mean, clearly they're going to be able to take more of a hit than your John Q indie.
Yeah, and I find that I'm taking that mindset to the indie stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? In that I'll see an indie comic going for a decent, for a reasonable price. I don't find that it's overpriced. I just think it's a reasonable price. But now my mind is slowly starting to be rewired to almost sort of go, oh, well, that seems a little bit expensive. Well, it's not. It's a reasonable price, but it's just that every other sod has got a sale going on.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different with that stuff. Like I remember when Brian Cleveland brought out Private Eye, and remember you could pay whatever you wanted for it.
Yeah.
But with that, because I knew they were doing it, I was I don't think I paid like the $4 that was the cover price on like a Marvel or a DC book at the time. But I remember thinking to myself, like, don't shortchange them. Because the whole point of them doing this is they know they've got something valuable, there's something they want to share. Like you've got to pay it forward a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think probably if I was more switched on to the indie stuff, I may not have that mindset, but I can see how easily you'd slip into it where you're like, well, the problem is I'm guessing, like you said now, they probably can't take as much of the hit, so I'm guessing they don't have a lot of sales on the indie stuff.
Yeah, some of them do. I think I quite like what the Comic House app does, because that's pretty much mainly indie comics, but it works on a similar setup to like Netflix.
Okay.
So you kind of pay that kind of one-off cost per month, but then it gives you access to like the whole library.
Yeah.
Which I quite like. I quite like that idea. I liked it when Comicsology did it. The only downside is we can't get it in this country.
Which now?
The Comicsology Unlimited. That's not available in the UK, is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. But it keeps coming up on my app. And the app
but have you actually tried signing up to it there?
No.
That's where you get, because normally
they spring the trap.
That's when they spring the trap. You go, oh, unlimited, then you go, only available in the US. It's like bastard.
Mother.
But something that they don't really make a big song and dance about is that if you get Amazon Prime, there's a whole load of comics that are available to you on Amazon Prime.
Shut at the front door. Is that true?
Yeah. Have you got Amazon Prime?
No, but I'm about to get it.
Right. So I read. So at the moment, I'm reading. I think it's Tom King's Batman, the first volume. Is it just called Iron? Is it called Iron Batman?
I think the first one is. Yeah. Or is it Gotham? Yeah.
It's one of those anyway. But before that, I read the Captain Marvel Higher, Faster, Further.
Right.
It's called. And all of that was free because I went onto Amazon and I happened to see it I was on my Kindle or something and it popped up and I was like, oh, comics. And there's loads of them on there. And if you get Amazon Prime, they're free.
Dude, you're blowing my mind right now. I didn't expect to come on to a podcast and get schooled. That's exactly what's happening.
Telling you, dude. I've had Prime for a couple of years. I only discovered it like about a month ago.
Wow.
And because it's through, and obviously because Amazon's linked to Comicsology now, they get all that guided view stuff. So it's all it looks good. It's not like they've just dumped it onto like a Kindle or something. You can still get it on. The Kindle view is like the guided view on Comixology, because effectively it's the Comixology app on your Kindle. But nowadays you don't have to have a Kindle. I read it on my phone, on my tablet, because I've got the Kindle app on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, one for you people, if you got Prime and you like comics, go and check it out.
Wow.
So anyway, that was a lot of comic chat. So let's move on from there. So I quickly wanted to mention Stranger Things, mainly because I know it's something we've both watched.
Yeah.
So this is Stranger Things Series 3, which is on Netflix. If you don't know what Stranger Things is about by now, then I can't help
you live in a cave. You probably can't even listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Somehow, you found an iPod on some deserted beach and it's got this episode on it. It's probably monkeys running around, and you're like, "What's this Stranger Things?"
Yeah, too bad I can't leave this island so I could check it out. So it was weird because normally the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things I watched with my wife. And then when this season came around, she went, "Nah, I'm out." She said, "If you want to watch it, it's fine." Yeah, she said, "If you want to watch it, it's fine." Because she really struggled with the second season.
What, as in like staying interested? And this isn't like a indictment of your good lady's character. I'm just curious as to why.
No, because because to a certain extent, I did a little bit with the second season.
Why was that? I'm just curious to know.
I don't know. I just found, and I kind of, it's something I level at most Netflix shows. Most Netflix shows, I feel, are always 1 or 2 episodes too long.
Okay.
And I kind of felt in the middle of Stranger Things that there was a little bit of flab there that could have been trimmed away.
Yeah, that was certainly true with the Marvel Netflix shows. Like they span their wheels for about 3 episodes. You were like, crikey days.
And I love Stranger Things, but sometimes I have another feeling about a lot of these shows now on Netflix and Amazon Prime and even the TV shows now, where sometimes I'm kind of like, I've watched one amazing season of something, and it's kind of had a beginning, middle, and end, and I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm all good with that. Do you know what I mean? If it doesn't come back, I'm all right with it. And I feel sometimes a show does come back, and there's an element of you've tied up a lot of loose ends, and there's an element of like, we're just gonna quietly undo that not there, just so we got a little bit more thread to carry on for the season. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
And so I watched Stranger Things on my own and pretty much blitzed it in a day whilst ironing. I don't know why.
I was so street. It hurts.
I don't know why I felt the need to throw in that, do you know what? And I was ironing too.
That's what's up. That's why I have my business now.
Take that.
No, it's because like I know, like you've invited me on here. You're in significant numbers now. 308. You are the host, but you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I think as well, you know, like when you do this stuff or when you have done it, you do tend to look at stuff with a bit more of a critical eye, because you do. This is completely subconscious, but you're like, right, what would I say about this? Like, what am I taking with me? What are the important things to remember? How do I back up my argument and my opinion and stuff? That said,
but it was kind of more. It bothered Sue more. I think just the whole kind of middle part of it. She just got a bit bored, to be honest.
Yeah, I think like with Stranger Things, the problem it's always going to have now is that when it started, it had like the 80s nostalgia. It fully embraced kind of like the Goonies, a bit of Stand By Me, a bit of E.T. It had all that thrown into it. Like even just like kitsch kind of Stephen King movies of the 80s era, it definitely had that thrown in. Like we're at the perfect age for that stuff. So you watched it and you're like, this is everything. Like reminds you of going out with your mates on a bike. Even the soundtrack was perfect. That kind of synth arrangement and stuff. And you can't bottle that. I'm not saying it's lightning in a bottle, because I think they do well to kind of replicate it. But it's kind of there's a magic there that I think will always be diminishing returns.
Yes.
I think in the second one, then they did enough, but it had that kind of like aliens vibe to it, and you could see they lent on that quite a bit, and which isn't a bad thing, but it didn't have the magic of the first one. And I think with this one, with season 3, and if we're staying away from spoilers, I'll kind of talk around it. I think it had like a Body Snatchers and a Terminator element to it.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel as genuine, I think, was the thing. Like with the other ones, it was like whether it worked for you or not, they clearly had a real love for it. Whereas in this, it kind of felt like, well, what should we do now?
Yeah. See, my thing was, it was a couple of things. I enjoyed overall, like I enjoyed. Do you know what I mean? I enjoyed season 3. I had a good time with it. I didn't like love it, but I enjoyed it, you know. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. I feel like sometimes we're in the kind of world now where you feel pressured into like you've either got to hate something or love it. You can't just go, yeah, I enjoyed that, I had a good time, but now it's over, you know.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt that when I watched the first season, it was kind of like nothing I'd seen before. In terms of now, if it were like you said, because it felt like it was a real throwback to the stuff that I watched as a kid. No one else really knew about it. It was just kind of the thing that popped up when we kind of put it on. It was like all of a sudden we'd watch the whole thing because we couldn't stop watching it, and then you know, and it's the word of mouth spreads and all the rest of it, and then it becomes this kind of global like phenomenon. But the fact that they were kids, they were like what 11, 12 in that first one. It just nailed it. It nailed that sweet spot. So when the second one came along, and like you said, it kind of doubled down with the alien vibe and stuff, and it still worked. And there were some really brilliant moments in it. And the last sort of few episodes by one of it were phenomenal. The way it all brought together. Definitely. But there was a certain element to me where like it wasn't original anymore because the structure that you're dealing with was the same structure that he developed in the first one. This idea of what you've got is age tiers, and by that what I mean is you've got the kids doing their stuff, and then you've got like the older kids, like the teenagers doing their stuff, and then you've got the adults doing their stuff, and you feel like it's 3 separate threads, but it's the same story, and it's like where they're going to converge. And when they do it in the first season, you're like, can't, you know, you almost shout at the screen. So no, you need to get to the kids because they're doing this shit. Yeah, and you're doing that, and you all need to be meeting up. And then when they all meet up, it's awesome.
Yeah,
but they effectively do the same thing in season 2, and I would argue they do the same thing in season 3.
I think like in season 3, it's more about kind of you looking behind the curtain a little bit.
Yeah,
like everything you said, you bang on. But I think in season 3, you're a little bit like, what do you do that's different? And they do make an attempt to do stuff that's different. But I think I'm not really, because the thing is, I'm not dogging it. I think like
not at all. No,
you're always going to struggle when you're as beloved as Stranger Things are. You can't, if you keep it too much the same, people will moan that you haven't like moved on or done anything new or fresh. And then if you do too much different, everyone's like, well, it's not my Stranger Things anymore. Yeah. But I think like I said before, it just it wasn't quite as magical. Now, whether or not that's because we just started getting used to it. But like you said, you did it while you were ironing. Now that first season, like you smashed it, you had to watch the next one.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't get that with the third one. Like me and my missus were watching it and I was like, do you want to go on to the next one? Or wait till I was working with people that smashed it all in the one weekend.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the stat on it? It was like 40 million people had watched Stranger Things. This was on the Monday, so it came out on the Friday or Thursday night, I think.
Yeah.
And on the Monday, 40 million people had watched Stranger Things, 18 million of which had finished it.
I mean, it's crazy stats.
Yeah.
Crazy
but that didn't make me, like you said, this pressure to kind of watch stuff. It didn't make me move on. Like, it didn't make me go, like, I have to watch this. Like, I should be driven by the story and it enticing me to watch the next one and give me cliffhangers. But it's not to say it didn't do that, but I just don't think it did it as well. No,
and I think what you said actually was perfect when you said you used the term magical. And I think because, so in that, I suppose in that first season, I just felt like I was in this world, and it happened that world was set in the 80s. So it was set in my kind of childhood, you know, and I knew that it was in the 80s because I could spot certain things, you know. But I felt when I was watching, not so much second season, but certainly the third season, I felt it was much more sort of like, right, how can we double down on the fact that we're in the 80s? Let's have this and let's have that. So it's in your face that we're in the 80s. Whereas I felt that it was more subtly done.
Yeah, it was implicit, wasn't it? In season one. Yeah, no, you're bang on. Bang on. And there's one thing we can't actually talk about. That's right at the end. And to be fair, they pitch it perfectly, but it could have derailed the whole thing. And that it's very much it was very fan service.
Yeah.
And if I just say it's when like they're being chased, and the Dustin's on the radio.
Oh yes, yeah.
And it's like don't get me wrong, I laughed and I was like, you know, you had to be very careful how you kind of played it, but there was a part of me as well that kind of found it a bit jarring.
It's become more contrived as it's gone on.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still really enjoy it. Also, the other thing as well is that the kids are now looking too old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And when they flash back, you're like, oh my God, Will looks like he's about 6 there.
Yeah. It definitely makes you want to go back and watch the first season again, actually.
It definitely does. So there was, it is magic, that first season. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. So, for today's main, obviously, once again, unless you've been living under the rock, this weekend past, we have had the biggest geek convention that we have on a yearly basis, which is the San Diego Comic-Con. But one of the things that I certainly wanted to focus in on today was the more Marvel-specific news, especially the fact that they have now announced what will be the films for Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4.
Yeah.
Phase 4 yeah. So the Infinity Saga, as it's called, is now dusted, and now we're moving into Phase 4. And somewhere he says, I have got a link. He says, yep, so I've got a link. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through them, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat about some of them will probably have more to say than others, I reckon. Probably this one will probably have less to say. So it wasn't a dig. It's just so.
But I don't care about, so I'm not even going to say the name of it. I'm going to pick the number 2.
Yeah. Or you go. Oh yeah. So first up is the Eternals. So
out in 2020.
Is it 2020?
Yeah, November 2020 apparently.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. 2020.
I know I'm right.
So this has I'll just say some of the names. It's got Richard Madden from Game of Thrones and The Bodyguard, Salma Hayek. I'm just picking out the names that I know, and the biggie is Angelina Jolie.
So I saw Brian Tyree Henry on the stage. Is he in Eternals?
Yes, he is.
Who is he?
He was one of the he did one of the voices on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I also think, he was also in, he was in Widows as well.
I didn't see that. So I know him from Atlanta.
Oh, okay. That's the Donald Glover thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wicked. But yeah, I saw him on there, and I couldn't, because I saw like this, you know, there was all those pictures of the screen of like the Marvel Phase 4 output, and then after that were like loads of random pictures of the people that had taken. I saw him on there, but I didn't know which one he was supposed to be in.
Oh, okay.
So, but he's in Eternals, you reckon?
Yeah.
Cool. I honestly don't know. Like, I'm not apathetic to it, but I just don't have an opinion on it yet. I don't know a lot about the Eternals.
No, I'm the same, to be honest. I know I think it's supposed to be, the Eternals were kind of like the answer to the New Gods from the DC side of things.
Yeah. I'm not even sure who came first, but yeah, basically the same thing. The Celestials are supposed to have made them, aren't they? They're like a little bit like what the Inhumans are to the Kree.
Yeah.
So they're like mutated humans supposed to protect them against the like the uglier race, whatever they are. I can't remember what they're called. The Eternal ones, begins with D, I think. So yeah, I just don't know. I'm not like this going to be whack, and the cast is obviously spectacular.
Yeah, so I think I could sort of do some digging as to who they are and stuff like that. But to be honest, I'm pretty much the same as you. I'm not that fussed until I know. Do you know what I mean? I'll call it as I see it. I'm not that fussed till I know more.
It's not even worth a cursory Google.
You know, cast sounds great. I ain't going to spend 20 minutes on something I don't really know much about, to be honest. Next up is a Marvel Studio. So this is one which is going to be coming to TV. So this is the Disney Plus streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
So this is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, 1,000 times yes.
And this is going to drop in autumn of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, if they hit this one right, I'm all over it.
Dude, it's like you do The Littlest Hobo, but with two like merc badasses. I'm sure that was probably the pitch.
I'm sure it was.
Did you see Falcon walking out with a shield?
No, I haven't watched any of the video for it.
Dude, check it. It just like, it's like, do you know at the end of Endgame, like spoilers, if you haven't seen it, then, you know, you're with that guy that hasn't seen Stranger Things.
Yeah, I've just seen the picture. Okay, fair play.
Do you know when he holds it and he goes, how does it feel? Cap goes, how does it feel? Falcon goes, like it's someone else's. And he goes, it isn't. Yeah. And when he walks out on that stage, you know, and you're like, yeah, it's not, it's yours. You're the boss with it.
I mean, and apparently the actor who played Baron Zemo in Civil War.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's coming back to play him again in the TV show.
That is wicked. That is wicked, especially like because of what he did to Bucky as well. Yeah.
So that I think that's right up there as one of the ones I'm really excited about, because Winter Soldier was one of my that's one of my, if not my fave, probably next to Endgame. But I just love that one. I love that film.
Yeah, they broke the mold with that one. They were like, look, which is what I think they always should have done with Marvel, where it was like, right, listen, it's Marvel. Like the comics did this. It's like, right, there's no reason you can't have an espionage tinged Marvel movie, and that's what they did. It was like a little bit rawer. It had a bit more edges on it. It wasn't as colourful. And it was wicked.
So that's Falcon and Winter Soldier. So moving on, keep it going. This one, before I even read out the title, this is one of the ones I'm like, I can't wait for this, even though I've only read one comic. And I read that comic when I was, I'm gonna say 9 or 10, because it was the only comic my brother had in that. My brother was a massive Marvel fan. That's how I got into Marvel. Yeah. But for some reason, he had this random comic one day, and I saw it in his collection. I was like, "What the hell is this?" And what I'll say is, this particular character was partnered with Luke Cage on the cover, and that's why I was like, "Okay, all right." So. This is Shang-Chi. Yeah. So, and the actual title of the film is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, if that don't make you want to like throw money at the screen.
I'm 120% with you. In fact, I don't think I've actually read a comic entitled Shang-Chi. I've just seen him show up in other stuff. Yeah. Do you know what? Like, genuine. I do think it's a little bit of a shame we won't get an Iron Fist movie, because I think done right, if you'd done like the Matt Fraction Brubaker run, it would have been perfect. But I'm happy to take it. Like it's you know, obviously it's not going to be the same thing, but I think it'd be cool. And the fact that, like you say, they're going back to like the Ten Rings after All Hail the King, I was like, it's nicely been set up. That I'm really interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah. Because they have said they're actually going to have the Mandarin, like the real Mandarin, not Ben Kingsley. It's actually going to be another dude. And I don't know any of the actors in this. Other people, Simu Liu, what his name is. I haven't seen him in anything, so I can't comment on him one way or the other. All I'll say is just make sure you nail the martial arts. Yeah, and that's
the
half
thing,
the job done.
yeah, a kung fu movie with today's like blockbuster budget, you gotta, unless you screw the pooch, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, it's got to be at a certain level now, because the problem is back in the day when Matrix came out. Now, people like from my neck of the woods, Matrix was great, but we'd seen martial arts like that because we've been watching stuff that had come up
and stuff, and
exactly. We've been watching all the stuff that had come across the pond or whatever for years. So when Matrix came out, and loads of people go, "I've never seen anything like this." I'm like, dude, I could show you like 10 movies in my school satchel. You know what I mean? Sit your ass down. Let me educate you. But the difference now is, fast forward to today, every other film, TV show, even cartoon, you name it, has got people doing martial arts.
Yeah.
You know, so they're really going to have to push the bar to take it to that level that's going to make people sit up and go, okay, now this is a martial arts film.
I hope they get RZA to do the soundtrack.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that hits February 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on. Next up, we've got another TV show, which is WandaVision, which is going to star.
Oh my god! I hope they call it that. WandaVision.
That is what it's called.
There's Wanda and Vision in it.
No, it's called WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Yeah, I'm looking at the logo for it. Yeah, WandaVision.
That is amazing. I'm probably still going to watch it though.
You are going to watch it?
Nah, I don't think so.
No?
Well, I probably will out of obligation, because I'll think like there's probably some tidbit in there that I'll get a kick out of. But like, it hasn't got legs. That
I don't, and it's also going to have. The
only thing they're going to do with that, right, is basically them two held up. Actually, this would be fucking awesome. But they can't get away with it on Disney. So if it was those two holed up in that Edinburgh hotel, just basically 9.5 weeks, but we're Wonder and Vision. At first I was poo-pooing the idea, but now I'm in.
I'm fairly confident DC ain't going to go the route of having a 9.5 week style Marvel TV show.
Romp.
Like, that's going to run for like 5 seasons. Do you know what I mean?
But you would watch my WandaVision, wouldn't you?
I think some people have. I think that's called porn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it personally. I haven't got a clue. They have said it's going to have an adult Monica Rambeau. So, you know, she was in
yeah,
the kid was in Captain Marvel. Well, now she's going to be fully grown and in this. So that's interesting. Not sure how that's going to work. But that drops.
The woman they got cast for it though, she's brilliant. She was in Mad Men.
Oh, okay.
She was also in If Beale Street Could Talk.
Right.
Oh wait, and she's also in what's the new one now that's got Falcon and Crossbones in it?
Oh,
Point Blank. She's in that.
Is she the wife?
For real, yeah.
Ah, okay. Nice.
And she's like got some good acting chops, so she'll probably be the best thing about it.
Yeah. Okay. Suddenly, I'm now want to check out a few episodes now.
Of what, WandaVision?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you tell me what it's like, and I'll see if it's worth watching.
Okay, moving on. Another TV show. We've got Loki.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I kind of join you in there. Yeah. I kind of feel like I'll probably get shot down in flames. When they first brought Loki in the first Thor movie, I loved him.
Yeah.
And to certain extent, and when he was in Avengers, I loved him. I thought he was, you know what I mean? I really liked him. He had some good lines or whatever. But then after that, I just, you're a good guy, you're a bad guy, I don't know. And I suddenly realised I don't really care.
Yeah, does he even know?
You know? And weirdly, when he kind of got killed in
Infinity,
I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was more bothered about Hulk getting a kick in than I was Loki died. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that thing about like his allegiances switching and stuff, it get a bit tired.
Yeah.
But I think bringing him, what they do with him in Endgame, it looked so like it was so contrived. And it's like, right, so now we're going to get the Avengers Loki loose in time, which completely undermines his sacrifice at the beginning of Infinity War. I was like, do you know what? Forget about like all his bait and switch and all that stuff. At least when he announces himself to Thanos and he says, he looks at Thor and says Odin's son, and it sticks in his throat a little bit, and then he dies. You're like, right, it's enough there where what you haven't done, you haven't completely made him a good guy. He's kind of survived. He still kept his character, but then he's got like a heroic death, and just leave it there. Yeah. Now it's like everybody loves Loki. Let's get the Marvel money machine out and let's just churn. And do you know, it's one of those things where I'm happy to be wrong, but I'm just like, it's a bit like the Black Widow when they first announced it. I thought, right, if you bring her back after what she did in Endgame, like it's BS, man.
But at least hers is a prequel, isn't it?
Yeah, well that's what I mean. Now I'm all right with it. But if they'd done it the other way around, but that is what they've done with Loki, and I just think like,
it just, I don't know. It just felt for me a little bit like, going back to the death thing, you're right. I think the problem I had with it was because I thought when it happened, I just felt, well, he'll be back. You know, so it kind of took something away from it because I was just like, yeah, well, he'll be back. It's all good. Don't worry. You know, turned into a kid beside me in cinema going, I don't know what you're crying for. He's gonna be, do you know what I mean? He's going to be back. You know, chill out. You know.
He's like, who are you?
Yeah. I'm crying because a strange man sitting next to me is trying to like engage me in conversation.
Yeah, he's trying to console me.
Yeah. Okay, next up, I've got to say another thing about Marvel. They've been knocking out the park with some of their titles for their movies. So next up is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness drops Mark Steps Back.
That is amazing. Do you know this is supposed to be like their first kind of foray into like scary movies?
Into what movie, sorry?
Into like scary movies.
Yes, yeah, because the guy who's directing it is the same guy who did the first Doctor Strange, isn't it? Scott, I think his name is Scott Derrickson or something. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
and he said like this is going to be like, you know, the first sort of like Marvel sort of scary movie, and I'm like, to be fair, there was a couple of bits in Doctor Strange where I was like, that's just messed up. It wasn't even scary, but it was like messed up.
Do it with the hands and that.
Yeah. So I'm like, if anyone could pull that off, it's this director.
Yeah.
And the fact it's also got Scarlet Witch in it as well, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, Scarlet Witch is in it.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. That makes it interesting.
Yeah. So that looks good. That is 2021 May. There's a What If, which is it's going to be the first animated series in the MCU.
Oh, is that what it's going to be?
Yeah.
I completely misread this. I thought that was going to be a movie.
No.
Because I was like, how are they going to pull that off without kind of pulling at the fabric of the MCU? But obviously that's why. So it's going to be animated, is it?
Yeah, and it's going to start. You know who Jeffrey White is?
No.
Did you watch Westworld?
Yeah.
So he's the guy who plays Bernard.
Oh, yes.
So he's going to be the Watcher.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And that, I mean, I've got to say that's some awesome casting, right?
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, I mean, so each episode will be an animated What If?
Yeah.
That makes loads more sense.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And what it's saying, and this bit I didn't know, it says many actors from across the MCU will reprise their roles as voice talent.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
See, that's good.
I'm probably, now you've told me what the skinny about that, I'm probably more excited about that than I am any of the other stuff on the list.
You know what's funny is when they first announced them, I was excited for all of them. But now that we're kind of talking and going through them, I find that there's some I'm still really excited. Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, and there's others where I feel like my excitement is slightly waned. Obviously, Winter Soldier and Falcon, I'm well up for that. Also, some of it is because I know it's a good old wait before we see any of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so it's hard to get excited about it, isn't it? With
something that's not coming out for like another 2 years. Speaking of which, What If doesn't come out until summer 21. So moving on, we've got Hawkeye.
Interesting on this one.
Which will star, obviously, Jeremy Renner. But they say it's going to introduce Kate Bishop. Who's in the comics, obviously, and he was training her. And she becomes like the next Hawkeye, don't she?
Yeah, this is when I'm finding it hard to get excited about, because I think like I loved the what's his name?
The Matt Fraction.
Thank you. Yeah, the Matt Fraction run on it, and they're using the same logo.
Yeah,
but they can't tell that story because obviously in the MCU he's got like a family and a wife and stuff, so they can't tell that. So I don't know if I want to watch a like mentor student Hawkeye TV show. Yeah. I just don't know, unless they do something like really original with it or a bit gritty. I'm not interested. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they approach it. I'm kind of a little bit with you on it. I'm intrigued more than I'm excited. Mm-hmm. That's one of these ones I'll need to wait until I see like a trailer before I start to sort of really go, I'm all over that. Yeah, completely. Yeah. So even though we're hour and 5, we are nearly there. So next we've got 3 to go. So we've got 4 Love and Thunder. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this? Interesting one. One of the best things about this is the actual the logo. It does look great, doesn't it? Because it looks like a sequel to like the Golden Axe video game. Do you know what I mean? It really does. I feel like this should be in an arcade somewhere, and I should be like pumping 10 pieces in. Do you know what I mean? It's like one more go. Now you've said it. Yeah, the Love and Thunder bit is bang on like 16-bit arcade style. Yeah. What I think, I'm a bit torn because I know loads and loads and loads of people love what was the last gone blank now. The last Thor film, what was that called? Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok. Loads of people loved Thor Ragnarok. And I enjoyed it as a fantasy movie, what I had to do was distance myself from saying that isn't my Thor. That's not the Thor that I grew up reading. Yes. Do you know what I mean? They've kind of turned him into kind of like comedic, bit of a buffoon, you know, and then they sort of doubled down on that a bit more in sort of Endgame. And, you know, I've had to sort of change my mindset for that. And I can enjoy him for what it is, you know what I mean? But the Thor that was in the first film, and okay, yes, the people didn't necessarily enjoy the first film as much or whatever, but that Thor was the Thor that I like. It's much more grand and much more, you know, these are gods, you know. And Anthony Hopkins is Odin. Do you know what I'm saying? They got real weight to them. Yeah, it just felt. Say what you want about that first film, but when he gets cast out of Asgard by Odin, you go and watch that scene. That scene's got weight. Yeah, there's not a dry eye in the house of that bit. Yeah, because you can see how like angry he is and how like I have to do this. I'm so angry at you. I know you. I'd actually know you'll come out at the end because I'm Odin. But right now, I don't give a fuck. You're going. So from where we started to where we are now, it's like 2 completely different characters. Yeah, you are bang on, and I think they do need to bring him back. I think the thing that I haven't read the Aaron run where it's Jane Foster, but like I'm actually like I kind of welcome it a bit. Because I'm like, do you know what? What you need to do in like Asgardians of the Galaxy is probably a good spot now to kind of start to bring him back, because he can still have a bit of fun. There's enough people around him where it's not all about him, and they can kind of build him back up. And I think they should start to. He doesn't necessarily have to be the Thor from the first one, but he needs to get at least halfway there.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you've read that Jason Aaron run, the first run, well, I think it's called like the. I don't know if it's called like the God Killer or something. Where it's kind of free. It's 3 4s in different times. Yeah, that is amazing. And there's a version of 4 in there which is kind of a little bit closer to the 4 you get in for Ragnarok, where it's a bit of a bum.
Born?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Bit of a bum, bit of a, you know what I mean? But, you know, kind of a warrior, just like to drink and fight, you know. But it's just brilliantly done. And so I don't think we're not going to get that. I've read some. I haven't read all of the 4 where it's Lady 4. I haven't read all of that run. I've read some of it. The interesting thing is, and I'm trying to choose the words carefully, is in that comic, you've effectively, it looks to me, you have like almost like 2 characters, because you have Jane Foster, who's got cancer, and then when she changes, you know, she picks up the hammer or whatever, she kind of changes, doesn't she? She kind of looks different.
But Thor used to do that, didn't he? He used to be Donald Blake.
Yeah,
turned into, yeah.
And I really like that. I like that concept. But the minute they kind of say, oh, it's, you know, Natalie Portman is going to, and she's going to be Thor, I can't. And I was talking to someone about it, and she said quite rightly, I can't see them paying all that money to get Natalie Portman for her to then be like just Jane Foster 50% of the time, and the rest of the time they're going to cast another actress to be Lady 4 when she changes.
No, yeah.
So again, it's an interesting. I'm reserving judgment until I see what she looks like in an outfit.
Yeah, completely. I think, do you know, it's a really odd thing about this. I'm not trying to stir controversy, I promise. I think the thing that bothered me the most about this was like the appropriation of like the diversity thing. And I'm not saying that people can't have that and it's not a bad thing, but it kind of got the discussion that we're having about whether or not the movie could work and if it will and why it should. It kind of got lost into this like diversity thing, and I was like, it's not a shame, because I think people are a lot more sensitive than that to it now. But I think at the same time, it's like let's not forget what this is about. Don't forget like why this is exciting to us all, because it doesn't. I don't kind of see that it's a man Thor or a lady Thor. No, you know what I mean, I'm just like, you're going to tell a Jane Austen story, and Jane Austen as Thor is a really interesting concept. You mean
Jane Foster, not Jane Austen, the writer?
Is Jane Austen not in this?
Who's Jane Austen?
Yes. But do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Really kind of it gets lost a bit, and I'm like, it's not, and it's really hard sometimes, because you're like, you know, the whole point of any of this stuff, whether it's comic books, movies, it's all about what you take from it. But I just think sometimes it's a bit of a shame when we're kind of, especially like when you're trying to like bait people on Twitter and that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, you're missing why you should get excited, or why you shouldn't, or what the discussion should be about, I suppose. But who am I to say, Bar? Big man, sorry. Yeah.
Well, we shall see. 2 more left to go, because I'm looking at time. So we are nearly there. Black Widow prequel, boom.
All over it.
I
didn't know David Harbour was in it until this weekend, though.
Yeah. There's also got Rachel Weisz in it. Someone else I thought. I'm sure Ray Winston's in it as well.
Shut up. Amazing.
Sure of it.
I hope he's like her handler.
Yeah.
And I hope he doesn't try to do any other accent apart from his own.
No, me too. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would actually be amazing. I'm excited about Black Widow, especially like, because isn't it an extension of, isn't it after Civil War?
It's after Civil War, yeah.
So I think that'll be really good.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a Black Widow film done by the Russo brothers, because I felt like in Winter Soldier, it was a Cap film, but I kind of felt like it was Cap and Black Widow film.
Yeah.
And he really used her to the best of her, but I mean, because it was a spy movie as well, and because Captain America is like, you know what I mean, he's just this sort of moral center, and she's kind of off the center, and their dynamic worked really well.
Completely. There's like that bit in it's only a tiny bit, but I think it illustrates what you're talking about perfectly. Is when he says to her, "Get your feet off the dash."
Yeah.
And she's like, the car's stolen. He goes, but I'm taking it back. Get your feet off the dash.
Yeah.
That how they work and how they think, it was beautifully illustrated in that scene. It was tiny as throwaway, but it was so well written.
Yeah. No, yeah, can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. So, and don't have to wait long for that one. That one's next year.
When is that? Is that like March
May.
or? Okay.
It's May, yeah, May.
They deserve a breather after Endgame, to be fair. I'll give them that.
Yeah. But lastly, before we wrap up, what obviously happened on stage was after they were all done and dusted. I still haven't seen this video, but I can never say his name right. Marshala Ali, who played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage and obviously in various other films and whatever, great actor, has been announced as Blade.
Amazing. He chased them for this. Did you hear the story?
No.
So after he won like the last Oscar, he like approached them and said, "Listen, I really want to do a Blade." And they were like, "We better not fuck this up. Get him in, get him in, get him in." And I was like, fair dues, because I love stuff like that where someone really gives a shit about it and they chase it. They're like, "This, I don't know if you're thinking about doing this, but if not, I love this character. I'd love to be considered." And they're like, "You're amazing. You've got 2 Oscars. You could do whatever you want."
Yeah.
I think this is exciting for me as I think. Do you know when Joaquin Phoenix was going to be Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Like, I was excited about that because you couldn't see it. It was the same with Heath Ledger. When people first talking about it, I was like, I can't see it, but there's something about him that makes me want to take a look at that. And I do think he'll do enough where it'll be different to Snipes' one.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they still throw Snipes in there, though, somehow. Not as Blade, but as something else, because...
Yeah, because was it... I don't know if it was you or if it was Gavin, you said, like, cast Blade as Whistler. Not Blade as Whistler, cast Wesley Snipes as Whistler.
As Whistler, that'd be wicked. But, like, don't forget, like, Blade kicked all this off.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
like, people forget that.
Forget. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've never forgotten that. But yeah, people do.
You don't have to remind me.
You know, I get really annoyed when Black Panther came out and there were lots of articles saying, like, you know, the first black Marvel superhero hits the screen. You know, and I'm like, Blade.
It's not.
You know what I mean? With Blade, 3 films. Where you been? And then and then you get into arguments. People go, yeah, but technically it wasn't because it wasn't Marvel. Like, yeah, okay, I get that. But you go into a comic shop and you say you want to get a Blade comic, they're gonna hand you a Marvel comic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're talking semantics as far as I'm concerned. But no, and they're wrong. You know. But no, it's great piece of casting. And I said my only slight concern, which isn't really a concern when you really think about it, I don't know though, when I think about Iron Fist, is that Snipes he was good at, you know, his acting was good in Blade and whatever, but mainly because he's a martial artist, he could handle the physicality of Blade. So it added to the realism of what you're watching, because most of what you were seeing was Wesley Snipes kicking ass.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
he's a bit more athletic and he's taller than Snipes, isn't he?
Yeah.
So like, how would you feel if they did it like? Do you know how in the first Batman movie he's like a bit of a street brawler? Like, he's not got all the moves like Christian Bale's has. He's like rough and ready. How would you feel if they did Blade like that?
I think so long as he's got, I suppose what I mean is, so long, here's my thing. I was worried. So when you look at Iron Fist, right, the guy they got to play Iron Fist, I'm not even talking about his acting, fighting wise, couldn't do it.
No.
And whether or not it's because they didn't take enough time, they didn't really, I think there's almost an element of it, they didn't realize the importance of the martial arts in that show. Even though the show is called Iron Fist, right? The martial arts should have been as equally important as the acting you're trying to drop in that show.
And to be fair, neither of which they took particularly seriously, did they?
No, you know. And I kind of feel with Blade is the fighting, however fighting style you do, maybe not with martial arts, however the fighting you do it, that's got to be just as important as whatever acting that he's bringing to the table as well. And I feel like when you look at a film like Winter Soldier, where you've got two actors who aren't trained martial artists. So you got like, Chris Evans, and then you got the guy who plays Winter Soldier, whose name escapes me now.
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, but you look at the way the Russo brothers handled and Black Widow. You look at the way the Russo brothers handled the fight scenes in that film, where, like you said, there wasn't like martial arts. There wasn't necessarily a lot of people doing jumping and backflips and kicks and whatever, but there was a grittiness and a speed and a movement to those fight scenes. Kinetic, that's what I want to see in Blade.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be people doing flying kicks and stuff like that, because unless it's choreographed well, that can look cheesy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think one thing they got across in that, and you are bang on about like Wesley Snipes, obviously he had the schooling and stuff, but I think as long as you worry about him, then that's enough. How they pull that off, I'm open to, but like when he walks into a room, you have to worry about him. Like there's a vampire he's going up against,
Yeah. And I think that's the thing of like, and I just have to kind of accept that another guy's filling the road, because, and I think for a lot of people, they'll be able to go into this and kind of watch it fresh. But I can still, whenever I see the name Blade, I still see one dude walking into, and I didn't know Blade when I went to see the film. I didn't really know the character so much. I was aware of him. And there was a mate who had seen the film and said, "Look, man, you got to see this film." And he came to Northampton just to take me to see Blade, because that's how strongly he felt I needed to see this film. And I still remember, every time I think of Blade, I still feel a scene that they set up where you literally had 300 vampires. You had blood coming from the ceiling. One dude walks into the room. You don't even know he's a vampire. Right? One dude walks into a room and all of those vampires are backing up like someone's just opened up a window. Do you know what I mean? And the sun's coming. And I remember you hear them sort of going, "It's him. It's the Daywalker. It's Blade." Yeah. And you just think he hasn't even thrown a punch yet.
And he's legendary.
You know what I'm saying? You could have stopped the film there, and I would have thought I got my money's worth. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, but it was only 5 minutes. Don't care. It's the best 5 minutes of my life.
Yeah. There's your $10.
Yeah, and I feel that, and I'm really excited about it. But that's the hill. That's the hill they got to climb.
Yeah, and it's big. They're big shoes to fill.
They're big shoes to fill. A third film, I don't really want to talk about that. But
No.
But the first two films, but for me, always the first film, he was legendary. Whistler was legendary.
Yeah, it was class. That first one, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they just hit all the right notes. You hadn't quite seen anything like it before. It was the right balance of everything. They really pulled it off.
Yeah. Awesome. Right, there. We are done. So we have talked Marvel Phase 4. We have covered off Marvel Phase 4. You're welcome. You're welcome, people. Obviously, you'll probably have thoughts, feelings, questions, comments. Please, by all means, write in. Let us know. Don't send a letter because you don't know where I live. So send us an email, thegeeks@geeksyndicate.co.uk. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find Dave and Brittany, hopefully. And Dan, where can people get hold of you? Not literally.
Get hold of me at Cape_Killer on Twitter, or at Cape Killer T-shirts on Instagram.
Cool. So all that remains is for me to say big thanks to Dan for coming in and filling shoes. Not quite as big as Blades, but
Blades, no, but they're close. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, sir. And to everyone else, I will see you soon. But for now, Geek Syndicate, we out.